Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sujiva Satvaitam Savadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishada Vinamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagat Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanjara Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadarubhesha Kripa Sindhuve Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Vinamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschatishtarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hi Krishna everyone. So let's start with a small PPT on how Prabhupada's books are so important in our life. So Prabhupada always says distribute books, and distribute books. So this is his life mission. Like, so it's an appeal by Srila Prabhupada. So this month, it's a December month, is going to be called the marathon month, because all over the world, book distribution is going to be very rapid, and then so many devotees will be. There's so many devotees came to ISKCON just by reading Prabhupada's book. That's why I told we can preach, we can tell others what we learned in Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhakti Shastri, but then it won't really affect them. It won't influence them so much. But if they read Prabhupada's book, one page, one line, one paragraph, it's enough. It says, because they are transcendental literature. It's not written by Prabhupada. Krishna wrote it, right? So if you, please, all of you, genuinely take this up. By fully concentrating on distributing books of Krishna, one is fully absorbed in Krishna. This is Samadhi. You're giving Krishna to someone. The more you give Krishna to someone, the more you get Krishna. So book distribution is the greatest welfare activity you could ever do. You give charity, money, prasad or clothes, whatever you give, food or something. Food in prasad is different, but then if you give food, whatever charity we do, it's all temporary. But then the book distribution, Prabhupada's book is like an atom bomb. Even though it's lying in the shelf of the person in the house, and they didn't open it for years, still it will blast on one day, and then they all can become devotees. So because of you, one soul can go closer to Krishna. You become more dear to Krishna. So Prabhupada says, you go on with book distribution. They will be benefit, and distributors, you also will be benefit, because you are doing the most good welfare activities, and that's a preaching. So books are the basics, and preaching is the essence. So without book distribution, that's no preaching at all. And to be quickly recognized by Krishna, book distribution is the shortcut process. Not everyone knows this. So when we used to go for book distribution, it really makes us humble. Whatever proud or something we have, we become so humble, because people reject you and people just see you, what are you doing to sell books. But then we are doing transcendental literatures, spreading Krishna consciousness. So but then when one soul takes it up from you, you feel so happy, and you can talk about Krishna to them. So please try to distribute Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada says, actually it is a fact that ultimately everyone should preach and distribute books if they want to please me in the best way. Book distribution must be given stress. Now, yasya prasada Bhagavad prasado, yasya aprasada negati kutopi. The best way to please Srila Prabhupada is to distribute his books, right? If they say, we already have Bhagavad Gita, you can say, you can take Krishna book, you can take Science of Self-Realization. There's so many books available. Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada says every devotee should have all these books at home. So this is our book distribution is the most important task. And Prabhupada gives so much importance and stress on this, and he's working so hard for it. Why? Because that was the instruction given by his Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he is the one who actually gave that instruction. If you ever get money, print books. So we should give more stress to distribution of the transcendental literature, for it is more effective in converting people to Krishna consciousness. So please take it up. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that literatures are like Brihat Mridanga, great Mridangas. Like if you play a small Mridanga, it can be heard only in the four walls. But then if you play a great Mridanga, the whole world can hear it. So that's how a book is. So Prabhupada says, distribute my books profusely. That is real preaching. That's the only way to please Prabhupada. It's the only way to please Prabhupada. So please take it up. We have something called Gita Marathon. And Krishna also says, for one who explained the supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, they will go back to Krishna.
But Mataji, but how do we convince people to read the Gita? Because it's kind of difficult to, reach other people who are not into Krishna conscious. So how do we do that?
At least tell them that this is a nice charity, or you can do donation to the temple and it will really help us. Or if they don't want it, they can gift it to someone. So, and then tell them that at least you keep Bhagavad. It's like Krishna himself in your home, and to spread Sanatana Dharma, please do some contribution. So if they are pious, actually it is said in their heart also there is Krishna as Paramatma, right? So Krishna in their heart will induce or will dictate to them that you should get that book. Then only they buy the book from you. Otherwise, they don't buy from you. So we should know that we should always pray to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna and then start distributing. Then Krishna will somehow make them convinced. Yes, there are people, as he said, who rejects. In that case, we can try our best. Okay. And this you can see Tira Tell by Marathon. That's the link with which you can.
So, Mataji, so do we have to buy the Gita, or we can just donate on behalf?
You can donate on behalf. That also can be done. If you order on this, and if you contact this Prabhu, Ayush Mishra Prabhu, there is a number we'll share. So once you do that, then you can, he will donate it on your behalf to some children in the college and schools. They will do it.
Actually, I was thinking of doing it on the 3rd. Actually,
yeah, you can do it on 3rd also. So the 10 different languages are available as a postal charge. Actually, it's coming for cheap. So please do it. As a Bhakti Shastri student, it's a request from Srila Prabhupada and from our temple side. Okay. So Manasvi, do we have the link? Do we have this message with you? Or does anyone else have? Who else have this message? Anybody is from admin group?
Yes, maybe we have it in Bhakti Viksha class, ma'am.
You Mataji. Have that message, Sonia Mataji?
Yes, let me check in forward.
Yeah, can you post it here?
Yes.
Okay. So in that way, we can help to spread Krishna consciousness. So all of you just take, do whatever you can, and that will really please Srila Prabhupada. It's the greatest thing you can ever do. Okay. And also when you go for marriage or birthday functions or any functions, don't gift them some material things. Instead, you can just get one Bhagavad Gita and pack it as a gift and give it to them. Okay, so we'll start with, so this is the message as Sonia Mataji have put. Chaitali Mataji have put. Oh, thank you. So this is a Gita Marathon that has begun. So you can contact, you can contact Ayush Prabhu, Ayush Mishra Prabhu, who is in charge of the marathon. That on 3rd, if you want, you can donate. There was one devotee who donated for the kids in the school. So there's a nearby school and colleges. So you pay on behalf of them, and on behalf of you, it is distributed to the kids. So that's also a great thing you can ever do. And you don't know, it might be because of you, one soul is going back to Krishna. That's the greatest thing you can ever do. And Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is like Krishna himself, as it is, right? It's like, so you can gift it. You get it, you order it, you get it, or you can pay on somebody's behalf. So please do it, 5 or 10, how much ever possible on this Gita Jayanti. Before that also you can do, so that you get the copy personally. Okay, so we'll start with 2.25. Avyakto ayam achintyo ayam adhikaryo ayam uchyate tasmadevam vidin vainam nanashochitamarhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. So we saw in the last chapters that it is said, Dehinosmin yada dehe kaumaram yamanam jara tada dehantara praptir viras tatrana mukhyati. Right? So Dehinasmin yada dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. The body will go for different types of changes, but then the soul just transmigrates. And what happens at the time of death? Tada dehantara prapti, right? So the soul is invisible, and it is one. What is the size of the soul?
1/10,000 of the hair of the head.
Of the tip of the
Yeah, 1/10,000 part the tip of the head. So invisible, or it is so infinitesimal. So it's so small, but then it is inconceivable and immutable. So Arjuna is thinking about the body of the Kauravas. Now Krishna says, don't grieve for the body, because we are not the body, we are spirit soul. And magnitude of the soul so small that we can't even see by most of the powerful microscope. We can't really see. Does that mean the soul doesn't exist? No, it do exists, right? So what is the comparison Krishna Prabhupada gives? Soul is like what?
It is
You
like
can't-
the sun.
Like a sun.
It is
Very
like
good.
the sun.
Yeah.
Even if it is not visible because of the clouds, we cannot deny its
Very good.
existence.
Yeah. So similarly, the soul.
The
soul is covered by
there-
the
there.
different layers, but still,
Yes.
yes, we cannot see.
Yes. So still it is present, but thing is we can't see. So the sun is on a cloudy day, sun is covered, and you could not see the sunlight. I mean, you could not see the sun, but the sunlight was there. So similarly, you can't see the soul, but the consciousness is there. The person is living. That means the soul is there. Right? There's example of the sun Prabhupada mentions. And also Krishna is compared to sun. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoya Antakar. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayara Adhikar. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoya Antakar. Krishna is like sun and Maya is like darkness. So if there is, when you on the light, what happens? There is no darkness. Similarly, when there is Krishna, there is no Maya. So that's the comparison. So Krishna is always compared to the sun. Even Bhagavad Gita as it is, Akshara Prabhupada was compared to the sun. Right? Why? Because we can't hide the sun now. Whatever torchlight or anything you put, it's not equal to the effulgence of the sun. And you can't cover the sun. Yes, the clouds are getting covered, but clouds are not covering the sun. It's covering your vision. Right? So it is said that Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is was like a sun. It was so effulgent. We can't hide it somewhere. And that's why it could create devotees all over the world. And as far as soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence. It's beyond the proof of Shuddhi. So we take Praman from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. If the Guru have said, Sadhus or great devotees have said, or if it's in the Shastra, we take it as Praman. So there is no source of understanding soul except by studying the Vedas. What is the analogy Prabhupada uses here?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhupada has given the analogy that one can't know the source of his father
Yes.
except without his mother.
Mother. So
His
if you
mother
want,
can only say.
yes, if you want to know who your father is, just ask your mother. That's the only source, right? Instead of mental speculation. So similarly, to know about the soul, you have to study the Vedas. That's it. Except studying the Vedas, there is nothing. Because experimentally, you can't prove. That's why scientists are not believing. But what about previous Janma memories? And does anyone know about reincarnation of Shanti Devi? Did you hear about that? They're so famous.
No, Mataji.
Nobody heard about it. So I'll post it.
No, Mataji.
It was like the reincarnation of Shanti Devi. Actually, she died because of childbirth, and she had a son. And during that delivery, she died. And she got reborn after 1 year in some other place. And she could remember all her previous, when she became 9-year-old, she could understand, she could remember her husband, her son, that she died because of childbirth. And everybody was so inquisitive to know. She was telling so many things of her previous Janma. So Mahatma Gandhi was there at that time, and he organized a committee to take this girl to that place. I think she was in Madura, and she went there. She could recognize her husband. And she was 9-year-old. Her son was 10-year-old. Because that 1 year after the death, there was a transmigration was happening. And she could remember everything. And the husband was shocked to listen. And that was a rebirth. I mean, that was a punarjanma that's happening. The soul took another birth. And she could remember all her previous life. So many cases it happened like that. And also the birthmarks. Now somebody died because of a gunshot. And next Janma, they are born with a scar here. So that's all previous Janma's memories in the mind. Because mind, intelligence, and false ego come with your soul now. That's a subtle body. So that comes. So there are experiments going on, but then really they can't prove the soul exists because it's only in the Vedas. It is like how the mother is the proof or the authority to confirm who the father is. Similarly, there is something called Shruti Praman, Pratyaksha Praman, Anubandha Praman, etc. with that. So Shruti is Shruti, Smriti, Purana. These are all scriptural studies. So scriptures, we can't deny scriptures. Prabhupada says he might be wrong, but scriptures can never be wrong. And this is the properties of the soul. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chaitanyam klevi adyapo, na shoshevi maruta. Nainam chindanti shastrani, the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor withered by wind, not moistened by water or burned by fire. Soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. So if somebody is putting them to fire or committing suicide, jumping into the water, or taking a knife and cutting, doing something, then is it really correct? The suicide part. What is your view about suicide? Lakshmi Mataji?
No, Mataji.
It is not.
Mataji.
Yes, Kanjan Mataji, why?
Because Mataji, Hare Krishna.
You need to
Mataji,
raise your digital hand to answer. Yes, Kanjan Mataji.
Mataji, suicide is compared to cats and dogs like living body, because the human body is made for higher purpose, and like dogs and cats, like lower animals, they are not known for their deaths and all. So if we do not achieve something high purpose, we waste this human life. So suicide is not actually acceptable because this body is given by Krishna, and we should utilize this body in devotion service instead of quitting this body due to all material like sufferings and all.
Okay, very nice. But why do we say it is a sin, Ankita Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is a sin because we are born with a purpose and we shorten our life because of any reason. We will not get moksha and we will actually toil into the cycle of birth and death.
Okay. So what happens to the body? I mean, what happens to that person, Shubham Prabhu, that soul who commits suicide?
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Yes.
that soul will not get the body until time he spent that time.
Yes. So that's called the ghost form, right? That means the subtle body doesn't have, or the soul doesn't have a gross body. Like for example, if I'm supposed to live till 50 years old and I commit suicide at 30, so that means 20 years, material nature will not give me another body because I'm supposed to get another body after 20 years. That's how the nature works. I don't have any right, as Mataji said, to take the life which is given by Krishna. This body is also Krishna's. When Sanatana Goswami went to Jagannath Puri and he had all these bruises and not bruises, what do you say, some kind of a wound and a skin disease in his body, and he was feeling so bad. How will I live with this? And he thought he'll commit suicide in front of Jagannath Radha. When the Radha comes, he thought he'll jump. And Krishna is Paramatma in your heart. He knows everything. Before we think of something, Krishna knows what we're going to think. So Sanatana Goswami's desire was known by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this body is mine. This is my property, right? This body is not given to us by anybody else, but Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapita. He is the one who sanctions the body. Material nature gives it, but then Krishna actually sanctions the body. So, and he is in our heart as Paramatma. So who are we to destroy something which is given by Krishna? And is that the way to end your sufferings? No. Right? We think we have a lot of problems in this life. If we end this life, then there's no more problems. No, they are ignorant. They don't know the fact that life becomes more miserable. As Prabhu said, you won't get a material body or a gross body, and your soul, like a ghostly form, will be loitering around. And that's not the real form of life to be taken. And sometimes it is said that since you have destroyed this rare human form of life, material nature will not give you a human form next. We might fall into an animal form. And once the karma gets over, again, you come back to human form. But that's not the right thing, right? Either it's because of their mental equilibrium is not good and they mentally depressed, they commit suicide. But then we should make them aware of the fact that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, right? It's in that way. Yeah. So that's like how we try to understand that because the soul cannot be cut by weapons or not by fire or anything, right? So we should be careful not to do such silly mistakes. And then whoever is around us, we should then give them a counseling by telling the fact that we are. So, and then agama paino anityam, right? It comes and goes. The distress and happiness, it comes and goes. So who are we to take it up, take away? Atachainam nityajatam nityam vamanyase mritam tatapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitamarhasi. If however you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty Arjuna. So two ways. One, Arjuna thinks we are this body. If you think you are this body, you are a Kshatriya. So you have to fight. And second, if you think you're not this body, your spirit soul, still you can fight, because for the soul there is no birth or death, right? Punarabi Jananam, Punarabi Maranam. So what will Bhishma, what is the fate of Bhishma and Dronacharya? What is going to happen to them if they die? Yes, Ankita Mataji.
Mataji, they will either get a, they are basically in the hand of Krishna, and they will probably get a higher planet. They're spiritual souls basically. So either they'll be liberated or they'll be given a higher body. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, yes, Mataji, what?
Mataji, they will be either liberated or they will be given a higher planet or a designation as a soul.
Yes. So they are pious. So because they are pious, they might go to heavenly planets, or they might take a spiritual body. So in both the ways, Arjuna don't have to lament, right? Both their fate is going to be good. So no one laments for the loss of a certain bulk of chemicals. If you think you're the body is made up of chemicals, right? But then is that right? Is that okay? Body is made up of chemicals, but is the soul also made of chemicals? No. Then how is this emotions and different types of consciousness coming from us, right? So if you think, Arjuna, if you think you're just the body, it's bulk of chemicals. What else is just blood and stool and mucus and phlegm, right? Kapha, vayu and pitta. That's what our body is made up of. So you have to do your duty. You're a Kshatriya. And if Arjuna accepts the Vedic conclusion, he thinks he is the soul, then still he didn't have the reason to lament. If he did not believe, or if he believed, still he didn't have a reason to lament. And Arjuna is called as Mahabahu here. Jatasya hi dhruva. Yeah, why he is called so?
Mataji, he is called Mahabahu by here because Krishna sees him as very intelligent, knower of. He's very knowledgeable from all perspective, and still he's grieving for the rival party because of the he'll be losing his relatives, and he's actually mocking his behavior.
Yes. So because of that, so one who has taken his birth is sure to die. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu dhruvam janma mridasya. Tasmat abhirihatyate natam shojitamarhasi. One who has taken birth is sure to die, and after that one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Okay, so this is what Krishna is saying, that it is sure, after birth there is death, and after death there is birth again. So if you have to do your duty, then it's unavoidable, your discharge of duty, and then you have to fight. So if somebody is getting liberation, then there is no punarjanma. Yakta deham punarjanma naiti mamedi sorjana. Or it is also said, yat gatvani nevatande dhadamam paramam. Somebody who is liberated, definitely they'll never take birth again. But otherwise, there is birth and death. So there is B for birth and D for death. So in ABCD, what is C then? Between B and D. Between birth and death, what is there? It's just fun.
Mataji, chanting.
Yeah.
Mataji, chanting.
You just have to do chanting, nothing else. Between birth and death, that's the only thing which is going to be with us when we are about to leave this world. No? So that's why. So compassion, Arjuna was compassionate and not fighting, because he was thinking about the external dress as the body. And it said, Dhruva Janma Madasya. One who has taken his birth is sure to die. So anyway, they are going to die. Anyway, Krishna says, Dronacharya, Bhishmacharya are becoming old. At least one day or the other, they're going to die. It is said, Parikshit Maharaj had 7 days, no, to death. and that he was cursed to be bitten by a Takshak, the snake, by Shamika Muni's son, Shringi. So Parikshit Maharaj know he have 7 days. We don't even know whether we have 7 minutes or 7 seconds. And one Vaishnava was saying, we also have 7 days like Parikshit Maharaj, but we don't know when that 7 days is. It might be after 1 year, after 2 years, after 50 years. And even anyway, we're not going to live up to 100 years old. No, but still, because in Prayana Alpayasa Sabha, in Kali Yuga, the lifespan is coming lower and lower. So whenever our time is, but then are we getting prepared for the final exam? That's what is important. Will we be able to remember Krishna at that time? So that's why we are practicing now. We're practicing so that Prabhupada was listening to a lecture. So there's a stage, and you're an artist or you're a dancer or a musician, but then can you just go to the stage and perform? No, you need to practice. And Prabhupada says you need to practice. And will they select you without just seeing your practice? No. Otherwise, how will they know? They call the crowd and you go to the stage just like that. And if you perform, if you're not up to the mark, then it's a problem. So they see there's an interview and they see whether you're doing it well, and there's an audition, and then you get a pass, and then you go to the stage and perform. So similarly, whatever we are practicing here, that's called devotional service. We are trying to chant and everything so that when we go to the final stage of our life, we actually become successful and have Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end, remember Krishna. So here, Bhaja Govinda by Adi Shankaracharya says this: Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Chakate Sharanam, Iha Samsare Kaladushtare Kripaya Parapahi Murare. So that means you should surrender to Krishna, Mukunda. And again, one dies, again, one sleeps in the mother's womb. That's birth. So we have to cross this limitless sea, just uncrossable. But by Krishna's mercy, it is crossable. Abhyaktadini Bhutani, Vyaktamadhyani Bharata, Abhyaktani Dhanani Eva Tatra Ka Paridevana. At all created beings are manifested in the beginning, manifested in the interim state, and unmanifested again when unbelieved. So what need is there for lamentation? So Arjuna says, why are you lamenting? There's no cause of lamenting. 2 classes of philosophers, one believe in the existence of God, soul, the other one doesn't believe in the existence of soul. See, in both the cases, he doesn't have to lament. In both the cases, if he believes he is soul, still he don't have to lament because soul doesn't have birth or death. If you think he's body, still he don't have to lament because just he's a Kshatriya, he's doing his duty, right? So what is law of conservation of energy? Does anyone know? What does the law of conservation of energy says?
Mataji, law of conservation of energy says energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed from one form to another.
Yeah. Is it the same happening with the soul? Soul can never be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one body to another. The same thing is happening in this physics here, right? Energy can never be created nor be destroyed. Even the Newton's third law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. That's the law of karma, what we have. Any reaction you do, there is a reaction, punya or papa, right? Similarly, here, law of conservation of energy says energy can never be created nor destroyed. It can be only transformed one form to other. The soul is also like that. It cannot be created or is not destroyed. Dehi nityam avadyo ayam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhudani natam shochidam arhasi. The soul who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, there is no need of lamentations. Right? So again and again, Krishna is stressing this point for us, not to Arjuna. Right? Why Krishna has to set tail to Arjuna? Because Arjuna is an eternal associate. He doesn't have to know all this. It's for us, to make us understand you are not this body, you're a spirit soul. And as spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, we're supposed to serve Krishna. Right? Once we understand that, then our life is successful. Swadharmam abhichavekshya navikam hitum harhasi dharmyat adi yuddha shreyo anya kshatriyasya navidyate. Considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. Yeah. So as a kshatriya, what is his duty? He's supposed to fight. For a kshatriya, dying in the battlefield is more glorious than running away. When we say the army people, they are fighting the terrorists and they win, then we give them awards, Kirti Chakra and all that. But if they run away from terrorists, it's like for an army person, that's the greatest defeat he can ever have, right? But dying in the battlefield is more glorious for an army person. But when you, but the thought of the person who is fighting at that time, that really matters. If he's thinking only about his country, then Prabhupada says next life he can become a dog or a hog in that country. But if he's thinking in the relationship with the spiritual life, then it's different. Okay. So, yeah. So, it's very important here for a Kshatriya to do. Why? Because if Arjuna doesn't fight, then what will happen to whoever is coming with Arjuna? There are so many people who came to support Arjuna, right? What are they called? That was one of the 9 reasons why Arjuna won. What is that? They are called as what? Yeah, Rajeta Mataji.
Mataji, could you repeat the question?
There were so many people who came with Arjuna to fight. And then if Arjuna run off from the battlefield, what will happen to those people who came?
So they will, so they'll become victorious, and and Arjuna will be called a mere coward.
Yeah, because they will also run, no? When if Arjuna is going, leaving and going, they will also follow. It says, Yat yata chariti shreshta tattate vedharojana sayat pramanam gurde logas tat anivartade. Whoever came to support Arjuna, if Arjuna is running away, they will also go. Oh, our leader is going, then why should we stay? And Kauravas will win, right? So they are called as Takta Jivita, because they were ready to give their life for Arjuna. So if he runs off, Krishna is like, you are setting a wrong example for your followers. So what's the meaning of Kshatriya? Kshatriya.
Kshatriya is the one who sacrifices his life for his country, who fights for to protect his people.
Okay, Kanchan Mataji, what is the definition given in the purport by Srila Prabhupada?
Mataji, Kshatriya is to protect the citizens of from all kinds of difficulties, and mainly the administration bloc who rule, and actually those who not they do not allow violence and do everything according to law and order.
Yes. So Kshatriya is someone who have who's protecting you, right? Kshatriya. So Prabhupada mentions Kshatriya means causing problems. So okay. And what is your concept about sacrificing animals? You need to raise your digital hand. Don't just unmute and speak. If you know. Sacrificing animals. Is it correct, Manasvi?
No, Mataji, it's not correct because we are killing another body and it's a sin.
So what about animal sacrifice done in previous years? I mean, previous yugas. They used to do animal sacrifice. What was the theory behind that? Ankita Mataji,
I don't know.
Hare Krishna Mataji. In today's time, animal sacrifice is definitely not correct. But if you read the scriptures, the sacrifice done in the previous times, in the better yug, like Treta or Satya Yug, the animal would get finally moksha after the sacrifice.
It's not moksha. Supriya Mataji, what do you think?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, it is said like Kshatriya gets heavenly planet once he dies in the field. In a similar way, Brahmanas, when they offer the sacrificial animals to the sacrificial fire, they also get heavenly planets. Why? Because the animals that are being sacrificed, they are sure to get a human life, and they do not undergo the evolution process of different bodies.
Yes.
So they also get a chance to get liberated quickly.
Very good. They get a human form. Directly, they don't get liberated. They get a human form. Yes. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, you go to the next page, it is given that sacrificing animals. So whichever animal is being sacrificed, it's nothing like old animal can be sacrificed and young animal should not be sacrificed. Nothing like that. There's no age for the soul. Any animal which is getting sacrificed, it gets a human form next. It overcomes all the karma. Why? Because there are so many priests and brahmanas who are involved, who can chant the Vedic mantras in such a way, and the Vedic mantras are so potent that they can get a human form. But now there are no such priests or brahmanas who are available to chant such powerful mantra. That is one thing. And so it is not allowed. Those days they did that as a sacrifice to Mother Kali, so that that particular soul of the animal will get a human form next. And in that way, you are helping that soul to progress for liberation, because only in human form you can do act for liberation. So you get a human form. That's why animal sacrifice were allowed. But now Prabhupada mentions it should not be done because there is no priest. And also test some mantras, they do it. Like for example, Vedic mantras are chanted. But it's not like they go to heavenly planets directly. They will get a human form next in the earth. And then according to the karma, it happens. Now, I was talking something. Yeah, what about Kshatriyas killing animals when they are about learning the art, like the military art? Like Arjuna was shooting the eye of a bird, right? Dronacharya told them to shoot. Isn't that sin? Is it sin or not? Yes or no, and why? Please raise your hand. Kshatriyas are trained, right, in younger age with bow and arrow to shoot the birds and animals. Isn't that sin? Supriya Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, it is said that the animals which are killed by a Kshatriya during the hunt, they are giving at the time of cremation, they are given royal treatment at the time of cremation. So it is allowed.
It is allowed. It is allowed, but that's not the real reason. Okay, then Prafula Mataji, what else is the reason?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, Kshatriya, they were trained. That is their duty. They were trained to shoot Mataji. That's the one process of the process of training.
Yes, the process of training, and then they can't directly kill an human and learn. For example, in case of medicines, when you're testing, like this corona vaccine and all, we actually inject it to a guinea pig or a rat or a mice or anything in a laboratory. All the medicines are tested on an animal first, not it is just directly given to a human being, right? So in that way, sometimes. No, I'm not muted. Maybe you have network issue. So yeah, so when you kill that animal by injecting a medicine or a vaccine, are we doing some sin? No, we are testing on the animal so that the medicine can be used in human. Similarly, Kshatriyas are trained in killing animals so that in the future, if some armies come and terrorists come, they can attack them and save the citizens. So in that way, it is not wrong. If it is for a higher purpose, right? Only if it is for that, simply killing animals like Brigari who was half killing animals and Narad Muni came and saved him. No, that is not right. Okay. So yes. So we did we have a discussion on Varnashram Dharma before?
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji, we have discussed.
Okay. So quickly we'll have like 5 minutes breakout room just to have a discussion on Varnashram Dharma. What is Varnashram Dharma and how do you apply it in your life? There is something called Devi Varnashram Dharma. What is that? And is it same as Varnashram Dharma? Okay, Varna Ashrama. What are the 4 Varnas and the 4 Ashramas? Just quickly discuss and come back.
Mataji, from which purport we have to discuss?
That's a general question. You can also take it from. Okay, it's a general question. Hare Krishna. So in room 2, there are still devotees discussing. And let them come back.
Mataji, I was from room 2. I came back.
Me too, Mataji.
but
I was
Neha Mataji, Prafulla Mataji, and Vilas Prabhu are still in room 2. The discussion was over.
Yes,
Yes.
Mataji. Room 2
Yes,
discussion
Mataji.
is over.
Why they are not back? Okay, anyway. Yeah, so who's speaking from room 2? Ankita Mataji, Kanchan Mataji, Lakshmi Mataji, Neha Mataji, yes. Anyone? Soni Mataji.
Yes. Yeah, we had discussed about the 4 stages,
Ah.
that is according to the karmic account. We had the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. So that is the 4 divisions, and
Yes.
they live the life and they give a part of their life towards Swadharma, towards the religion. Yes. And what was the other part of the question?
So that's the 4 varnas. Okay.
Yeah, 4 varnas. Yes, and then we have the ashramas. We have brahmacharis, and then we have grihasthas, then vanprasthas, and sannyasis.
Yes.
Yes. So in brahmacharis, they are mostly the students, and they are learning. They can decide their life whether to continue to be brahmachari without getting married. And then
Yes.
we have grihasthas, who do their worldly duties, and they have a devotional life too.
Brahmacharis who never get married are called what? Does anyone know?
Brahmachari.
Yeah, they who never gets married after that.
Brahmachari. Yes.
Sumit Prabhu?
Sannyasi, Mataji.
No. Brahmacharis, after that they take sannyasi ashram. That's different. Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and sannyas. Sannyas is the last ashram. But
Okay.
brahmacharis are, yes, up to 25 years, they are trained to brahmachari student life. And after that, if they want, they can become grihasthas, get married, or they can continue to be brahmacharis. They are called as?
3 Dandi, right?
Prabhu, what?
3 Dandi. 3
No,
Dandi
that's
sannyasi.
sannyasi. Tridandi sannyasi.
Then
that
I
is
don't know,
called.
Mataji. I don't know, Mataji. Sorry.
So that is called Naishtik brahmacharis. Naishtika brahmacharis are someone who takes a decision of not getting married. So that's Naishtika brahmachari. What you said is the sannyas, Prabhu. Yes, that is after brahmachari life, after like when they become old. I mean, it's not old in the sense spiritually also very advanced. Then they take sannyas, which is like you can't stay in one place. You go around for preaching, and then they have tridanda. Tridanda means the big stick which they have 3 sticks. Tridandi sannyasi is a Vaishnava sannyasi. That means their mind, body, and words, the 3 sticks are surrendered to Krishna. And Mayavadis are called Ekadandi sannyasi. That's different. Now in Grihastha, there are 2 types of Grihasthas. Who are they?
Mataji, Grihmedi and
Good. Grihamedi and Grihasthas.
Grihmedi and Grihasthas.
Grihamedi is?
Mataji, you are materially more inclined, and they are only doing sense gratification.
Yeah, so they don't have Krishna in the center, and they are non-devotees, karmis, and yes, they do what devotion. Grihastha ashram is someone who have Krishna in the middle. That's like a devotee family who have deities at home, and they do worship, they offer bhog, they chant the holy name, hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So that is Grihastha ashram. So Grihamedis are compared to Griham Antakupa, like a blind well by Prahlad Maharaj. So, right. So, Varna and Ashrama. 4 Varna, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras. So, Brahmanas, what are the functions of the Brahmanas? So, in room number 1, did you discuss about Dipali Mataji, Hemu Mataji, Shubham Prabhu, Varun?
Mataji, you're talking about the Brahmanas?
Yeah, Brahmanas.
Brahma is the main purpose is to educate people about God,
Yes.
about the basics, and and they perform the rituals of worshipping.
So the Vedic studies, they're performing rituals, giving charity, all that by the Brahmanas. Kshatriyas. So Brahmanas are in Sattva Guna. Kshatriyas are in which Guna?
So,
Rajoguna, Mataji.
Rajaguna, because they're so
Rajaguna.
passionate and they're so so all that. So Kshatriyas, they protect the family members in the country and all that. What are the functions of the Vaishyas, Hema Mataji?
The Vaishyas are basically into merchandising, into more of business and growing the crops and serving with the basic needs of life, like cattle
So
or
that is-
farming and
Krishi
selling and doing
Goraksha
merchandising.
Vanijya. It said Krishi Goraksha Vanijya. In the sense, Krishi, that's agriculture. Goraksha is protecting cows, and Vanijya is business, trade. And Shudras?
They serve above the all these trees who are above them. They serve all of them.
Yeah, so they support all of them. They are the working class. So there are 4 varnas and 4 ashramas: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Now, yes, Manasi, what is your point?
Mataji, we talked about Daiva Varnashrama also.
Yeah, you tell that.
Yeah, Daiva Varnashrama is a Varnashrama dharma in which the person is not we don't recognize him as his birth Varna. Like he is born in a Brahmana family but is doing works like a Shudra. So he is a Shudra only. He's not a Brahmana even though he's born in a Brahmana family.
Yeah, what is that sloka? Chaturvanya Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vipagasha. Based on the quality and the karma, you decide which he belongs to. Yes, and then?
Yes, Mataji, this much only.
Okay, this much he got. So what is a nice example in the Shastra, who was born in a low family and was considered as a great Vaishnava by Chaitanya
Valmiki Mataji. Valmiki.
Valmiki, yes, Ratnagar, definitely he was a hunter, and then later on he
Mrigari
yes.
Mataji.
Who else? By Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Advaitacharya gave him the prasad in the beginning.
Haridas Thakur
Mataji.
Haridas Thakur, even though he was in a low-born family, because he chanted 3 lakh holy name and he's a Vaishnava, he became above everyone. And Daivi Varnashrama is nothing but the Varnashram system based on your quality, as Madan said, quality based on your guna and karma. Not just you are the son of a high court judge. That doesn't mean you become a high court judge. Yes, there is all chance that you can become, but you have to undergo the training. You have to undergo LLB, LLM, and so many other degrees, and then get into enroll. Just because you're born in a Brahmana family doesn't make you a Brahmana unless you have the qualities for it. That's why Prabhupada gave the Brahmanic thread or the Brahmanic initiation even to the Shudras, even to the Yavanas and Mlechas of abroad, right? The Western countries. Why? Because it's given in the Shastras. If they are elevated to that guna and qualities and karma, they can be given the Brahmanic thread. So, Daivi Varnashrama is nothing but we don't follow just by birth. It's based on your quality and karma. So it is said, if you want to know if you're a real Brahmana or a Vaishnava, just come and open your fridge. If you open the fridge, you know what type of food you eat and whether you are in a sattvic person or not. Right? So, okay. So we had a nice discussion. Any other points? Any other group? Room number 3 or 4 had to contribute? Yes, Racheta Mataji.
We discussed that the Varnashrama dharma is based on the quality, not the type of family that you're born in.
That is Daivi Varnashrama. Okay. Daivi Varnashrama it's called. Varnashrama is basically, yes, as you said, the 4 Varnas and Ashramas that is formed. Okay. But Krishna has given us guna and karma. But normally people think only by caste and birth. Yes, Mother.
Okay. Then we discussed about that a brahmachari can become a good grihastha, a good vanaprastha, and a good sannyasi.
Yes.
That's all we discussed.
Okay, so that means, Prabhupada says that he had undergone all these 4 stages at the age of 20, 22 or something. Till that he was a brahmachari. And then he got married, he had children, he had a wife. So he was a grihastha life. Then he left everything and took vanaprastha and he went to Vrindavan. He was there for some time. Then he took sannyas from his guru and he again was in a sannyasi ashram. So all the 4 ashramas Prabhupada have gone through. So now in the purport he says both the ways Arjuna have to fight. Krishna is trying to put Arjuna in dilemma. This way or that way you have to fight. If you think you are not in the body concept, then it's the order. You must fight. If you then think you are in the body concept of life, then you are a Kshatriya. You must fight. Both ways, Arjuna had to fight. That was Krishna's conclusion. Right? That's Krishna's plan. Right? Why Arjuna had to fight? Why Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight? Yes?
Mataji, Krishna wanted to firstly establish dharma, and
Okay.
he wanted to also give a definition, like he wanted to explain that, like
He wanted to?
he
Yes,
wanted
Varun.
to establish.
Yeah,
Hare
Varun Prabhu.
Krishna.
Mataji, first of
Mataji, your
all,
voice is breaking. Yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, Krishna wanted to tell Bhagavad Gita, so that's why he chooses Arjuna.
Yeah, that's not the question. Now he's speaking Bhagavad Gita now. But now in Bhagavad Gita, when he is speaking Bhagavad Gita, why is Krishna telling Arjuna to fight? What is the whole purpose? Prafulla Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Krishna wants Arjuna to fight because he wants to establish dharma.
That's fine. It's already said. Ankita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, two reasons. One, Kauravas were supposed to be taught a lesson, number one. And second, being the battlefield being Kurukshetra, the Kauravas were to be liberated after this battle.
Perfect. Yeah. Krishna wants to give liberation to the Kauravas. That's why he's saying, Arjuna, fight. Arjuna, fight. No, Krishna wanted to speak Bhagavad Gita. That's why Krishna arranged the war. Now he's in the middle of both the armies. Now he put Arjuna into lamentation and he's giving Bhagavad Gita, fine. But in Bhagavad Gita, when he's advising, he say, Ma manusmari yuticha, ma manusmari, think of me and fight, fight, fight. This term fight has been used so many times in the Gita. Why Krishna is saying? So that the Kauravas get moksha. In one of the purport Prabhupada prays, if the Kauravas die at home, in their own home, they wouldn't have got moksha. And who are these Kauravas? Krishna's associates. When did Krishna speak Bhagavad Gita? The Dwapara Yuga was about to end, Kali Yuga was about to begin. So it's time for Krishna to wind up his pastime and go back. So Krishna was in a hurry. Come, let's go. So he is telling Arjuna, you become an instrument. Nimitta matram bhavisavesachim. Krishna have already decided to take them back. Krishna have already killed them. But then he want Arjuna to do it, take the credit because he is his devotee. And so just to make the common people believe that Arjuna have done it and to give moksha to all the Kauravas, Krishna arranged a plan such that so that all the Kauravas assemble in the battlefield and he can just liberate all of them. That's Krishna's special mercy. Our demons getting killed by Krishna is also special mercy because he can give moksha to them. That was the real purpose. Swarga dwaram apavritam. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come, opening for them the doors of heavenly planets. So for a Kshatriya, fighting is so glorious. If he doesn't fight, that's a sin for a Kshatriya. Tata chetam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tata swadharma kritimcha itva papam avakshasi. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sin for neglecting your duty. And thus, lose your reputation as a fighter. So, Krishna is just motivating Arjuna, right? It says Krishna was the first motivational speaker. He was just motivating the depressed Arjuna, like what all of us are in the fighting in this material world. And Krishna is giving us advice that we have to do your prescribed duty, but at the same time, you should be thinking of the Lord. Ma manusmari yutaja. Arjuna was a famous fighter, and even he got one of the astra from fighting with Lord Shiva. What was that astra which Arjuna got? Does anyone know?
Pashupasastra.
Yes, Pashupasastra, right? He got from Lord Shiva. So he was such a great Kshatriya. Nobody has to tell Arjuna, go fight, go fight, go fight. No, Arjuna can do it. But Krishna is making him do after Krishna's order. So there is no sin incurred by Arjuna because Arjuna was fighting for Krishna. He was in Krishna consciousness when he was fighting. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sin for neglecting your duty. So if Arjuna doesn't fight, then he gets sin. Not that if he fights. If he abandoned the battle, not only would he neglect his specific duty as Kshatriya, but he will lose all his fame and good name and this prepare his royal road to heaven. other words, he would go to hell not by fighting, but by withdrawing from the battle. So Krishna says, by withdrawing, by not doing your duty, you are going to lose. Like if you are going to hell. Otherwise, so similarly, we also have our duty. That's the dharma. We have our real dharma is Saved Pumsa Para Dharma Yado Bhakti Adokshite, to do devotional service. If we don't do devotional service, then we are going to hellish planet. That's what Yamaraj told to Yamadutas. Go to everyone who doesn't chant the holy name and bring them to me. Right? So because of ISKCON is spreading, Yamaraj and Yamadutas are like, what to do? We don't have a job, because every house there's chanting of holy name. Every house there's Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad sessions going on. So they don't have much work now. So, but then that is Krishna's mercy again. What's happening? Akritim chapi bhutani tatya ishyanti te avyayam sampavantasya chakriti maranat atirichyate. People will always speak of infamy, and for a respectful person, dishonor is worse than death. So what was the final judgment of the Lord? What did Krishna, the final judgment of Krishna? Yes, Prafula Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Krishna wants Arjuna to fight and not to withdraw.
Yes, so that was the final judgment of the Lord, that you have to fight. That's what Krishna says, that you have to fight, nothing else. So people will always speak about infamy, and for a respectful person, dishonor is worse than death. So what could be more painful? So he says, Arjuna, you're a Kshatriya, and if you don't fight, then everyone will speak bad about you. And for a Kshatriya, that's more painful, so don't do that. Hadavo prapshyasti swargam chitva vapokshase mahim tasmad uddishtaka udeya yuddhaya kritanishchaya. So two things can happen. If Arjuna win, then he can enjoy the kingdom. If Arjuna lose, still he can enjoy, because he goes to heavenly planet. So the another reason for Arjuna to lament was no enjoyment. But Krishna says you can enjoy. O son of Kunti, either you'll be killed on the battlefield and it in heavenly planets. There also is enjoyment, no? There is Somaras, Apsaras, and Gandharvas and all. Or if you win, you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So two things can happen to Arjuna. One is he can lose and die. That means he'll go, because they are pious, they all will go to heavenly planets. And there is enjoyment in heavenly planets. It's Swargalok, right? If he win the battle, then Yudhishthira will become the king, and Arjuna also can enjoy the kingdom. So where is the question of no enjoyment? You told you can't enjoy, but here Arjuna, Krishna is telling that you can enjoy both the ways. Either you win or lose, still you are enjoying. So Krishna is one by one defeating Arjuna's arguments. So Krishna defeats Arjuna's argument of enjoyment by saying, O son of Kunti, either you'll be killed in the battlefield and in heavenly planets, or you'll be conquered and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Sukha dukke samakritva lava lapho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avakshisi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness and distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. So Krishna says, don't think about the result. Now just fight. Right? Ma manisma. I will give. Right? Ma phaleshcha. Like, so he will give the result. But just don't think about happiness, distress, victory, or defeat. Just fight. So there is no consideration of happiness and distress, profit, loss, victory, anything in Krishna consciousness. Everything should be done for Krishna, that is transcendental consciousness. Then there is no reaction to material activities. Right? One who acts with his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to reaction, good or bad. But who he is completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone. So it is said in Bhagavatam, there's a sloka, Devarshi Bhutapta Dhrutam Rinampi Dhrina Naking Veronayam Rini Charajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Tado Mukundam Parivritya Kartam. Anyone who completely surrendered to Krishna or Mukunda, giving up all of the duty, is not obliged to anyone. He's not obliged to the demigods, sages, nor the people in general, nor policemen or humanity or forefathers. But this is for pure devotees, okay? Somebody like a pure devotee is not obliged to all these things, because you are watering the root of the tree. Krishna is the source. If you water the root of the tree, what happens? Then the whole tree gets nourished, right? So Eshate abhihita sanke buddhiryoge tva imam shrino buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahishyasi. So we can stop with 39th sloka. We'll start with 40 from the next session. Okay, because we can discuss now. Thus far, I have described the knowledge to you through analytic study. The Sankhya philosophy is nothing but to discriminate between soul and matter. Okay, so now Krishna has explained with fruitive results to the yoga. From acting in such knowledge, you can free from bondage. Okay, so the description of Vedas indicate that the Lord glanced over Prakriti or nature and impregnated it with atomic individual souls. So, who decides our body, our next janma? Who decides? Who decides our next janma?
Our karma, Mataji.
Okay.
Our karma and
Mataji, our karma.
Lord will.
No, who
Mataji.
decides? Okay, our karma, based on our karma, we get the body. But who
And
decides?
Krishna's will.
Nature.
Nature
It's
decides.
Mataji, Lord
Maya.
Krishna.
Prakriti.
Is it nature, like Prakriti or Krishna?
Krishna, Mataji, Lord Krishna.
Krishna, Lord Krishna decides.
So
the
Prakriti
based
doesn't
on
have any role?
karma.
Prakriti doesn't have any role?
Prakriti
No,
decides,
Mataji,
Mataji,
he just
sanctioned by
assigns.
Krishna.
He just gives us the body. Krishna assigns.
She gives and Krishna decides it. Krishna is the Aham Bija Pradapita. Krishna sanctions your body. Krishna decides which body and the material nature gives it. Here you can see Krishna glance over the Prakriti or material nature and impregnates it. Right? So, yeah, that is based on our last thoughts at the time of death, based on desires, karma, we get the body. But who decides which body you get? Krishna. Krishna sanctions it. He gives the bija. But who actually, Krishna decides it, but who is giving Prakriti? So it's actually both. Only, right? So Krishna, he can alone think of it, but material nature is actually giving it. Because the material body made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, that really belongs to the material world. The spirit inside the soul. So soul is given by Krishna. The body, the material body is given by material nature of Prakriti. Like father and mother gives birth to the child. That Krishna deposits the soul in the semen of the father and it is pushed into the womb of the mother. And the mother, from the mother's body, the child's body is formed. So, but the seed is given by the father. Similarly, the seed is given by Krishna. He is a seed-giving father. And Sarvayonisha Kaunteya, he says, right? So, Aham Bija Pradapita, he is a seed-giving father, but the material nature impregnates. So, Krishna has to just glance over it. Now, anyone knows the example of rice and scorpions? Scorpions are bugs. You keep rice for a long time in your storehouse. What will happen? You can see that small black bugs coming out. No? Is that bugs coming from the rice?
Mataji. No, Mataji.
From
Where
the
is it coming?
scorpion, Mataji.
It's coming from the scorpion. It came
From
and
the
laid some
scorpion.
eggs.
Yeah, so it keeps the eggs. Yes. So, but for a child, if a child the child sees that so much rice is there and the black bugs are coming from the rice. No, but that's not the right thing. The mother bug went and laid the eggs because it was moist and she likes to lay eggs in that place. She laid eggs and from that it hatched and all these bugs are coming. So it looks like the rice is giving birth to the bugs. Similarly, it looks like material nature is giving us the body, but no. Krishna actually deposits the seed and that's how we get the body. Another example is the goat. You have seen some on the goat's neck. There will be some kind of nipples on the goat's neck. What is it the real nipples? Does anyone know the nipples in the neck of a goat? Did you ever hear about the example?
No, Mataji. We haven't seen the
Prabhupada mentions.
of the goat's neck. We can't see them.
Yeah, there are some nipples on the goat's head, but they are not actual nipples. They don't give milk. The real nipples is down somewhere, down, but then it's not on the neck. But in the neck, there are some small nipples like appearance for the goat. But when you milk it, you don't get milk. Similarly, the material nature looks independent without Krishna, but no, Krishna, it's always dependent on Krishna. So because material nature is also Krishna's energy. Which energy of Krishna is material nature?
External energy.
Mataji, external energy.
External energy, right? Bahiranga Shakti. And as you all messaged and told, Karmana Deva Netrana, based on your karma, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, and according to the result of your work, the living entity of the soul is made to enter into the womb of a woman through the particle of a male semen to assume a particular type of body. We could not choose our body. We could not choose our parents, but Krishna could do it, right? Krishna could choose his parents. He could choose the day he comes and all that, how he looks. But then for us, it's based on karma. Karmana Deva Netrena. It's again Srimad Bhagavatam. It says Karmana Deva Netrena. It's Deva, or the Lord, who's actually sees to it. He supervises what body you get, but the material nature gives it, as a mother and a father impregnates. Okay, so we'll start from 2.40 on the next session. So, so what happens to the baby at the time of conception? When is the soul entering in the baby? Yes. Which day the soul enters the baby?
Mataji, day 1. Day
Yes.
1.
So from day
Day
one,
one.
there is the soul there. And some says there's a period of viability. That's not right, no?
No. It's from day 1. Krishna gives the life to the soul.
Yes. Very good. So from day one, there is the soul, life to the soul, and then the growth happens. Fine.
Yes.
Okay. What's your, someone have a question?
Mataji, I wanted to ask you, so why did Ashwathama had killed Pandavas, the 5 sons of Draupadi? Why did he kill?
Actually, he had thought it was the Pandavas who was lying there and in the night, and then he just threw the arrows and killed those sons. He didn't mean to kill the sons of Pandavas. He wanted to kill the Pandavas actually, but by mistake, it was the sons. He wanted to just destroy them, destroy the dynasty. That's it. And later on, when Ashwathama also tried to kill Parikshit, right? Who was in the womb of Uttara, because he was the only, he was also the only descendant of the Yadu dynasty. He wanted to kill him also. And then finally Krishna saved, right? Krishna became the size of a thumb and entered Uttara's womb and saved from the Brahmastra. Okay.
Okay, Mataji.
So that's why Ashwathama is not called the real Brahmana. Even though he was the son of Dronacharya, he was not having a quality of a Brahmana. So Ashwathama is called Brahma Bandhu.
Brahma Bandhu. It is what? Brahma? Mataji, it is Brahma?
Brahma Bandhu, in the sense a relative of a Brahmana. Because even though he's the son of a Brahmana, Ashwathama didn't have a quality of a Brahmana. So it's called Brahma Bandhu. It's mentioned like that.
Okay.
But Dronacharya was a real Brahmana. What was the proof that he was a real Brahmana?
Because he was a highly austere, highly knowledgeable, and he believed in equality.
Yes, but he trained somebody.
Yeah, he trained
It trains Drishtadyumna.
Very good. Drishtadyumna. Even though he knows Drupada's son Drishtadyumna is going to kill him later on, he trained Drishtadyumna. So in that way, Prabhupada mentions there, Dronacharya is a perfect Brahmana, but Ashwathama was not a perfect Brahmana. Yes, Manasvi. Which sloka are you going to teach today?
Mataji 2.13 and 2.20.
2.7 you taught? Oh, it's a
Yeah, Mataji.
Oh, okay, 2.13 and 20. Good.
Yeah. Mataji, my question is, in L1, level 1 of ISKCON Mangaluru course, everyone told that we will go to Goloka or Vaikuntha after Moksha. So is Vaikuntha and Goloka the same, or they are different? Like Vaikuntha is of Vishnu and Goloka is of Lord Krishna. So like this is the difference, or any other difference, Mataji? Or
It's
same?
like your father in the office and at home. What is the difference?
Mataji, in office he works and at home he rests.
No, how is the behavior towards you? When you go to his office in his office hours, and at home, how he behaves to you?
In the office hours, he is very strict. Yes, Manasvi, whatever you want, tell me fast because I am very busy.
Yeah, and what about at home?
He tells, oh Manasvi, what do you want? I will give you.
Yeah, so that's the difference. So in Vaikuntha, the same person, but in Vishnu is an official form with 4 hands, and he's in Aishwarya Bhav, he like raw and reverence. Like you can't just go and hug Vishnu. He's not in that form. He's official. But then the same Lord, he comes in Goloka, he becomes a sweet Krishna with a flute and peacock feather, the 2-handed form. Then you can have different rasas like Sakya, Valsalya, Madhurya. So Madhurya, Sakya and Valsalya, these 3 rasas are seen exclusively in Goloka. That's like the sweet home of Krishna. Krishna is not God in Vrindavan, right? So that's the difference. So if you worship Krishna with the awe and reverence, then you go to Vaikuntha. But then if you have more bhava and more prema stage towards Krishna, definitely you reach Goloka. And that's you can't actually assess which is best, because both are spiritual world and both of their it's moksha. But then more sweeter is Goloka, more sweeter, because Krishna is in that sweet form of two-handed form, yet as like he's at home. So you like to see your father at home more than in the office. So similarly, that's the difference. Okay. Yes,
Thank you
Prafula
so much.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, I want to know, Mataji, YouTube, you are giving Bhagavatam class.
Me?
Yeah, Mataji.
I'm just a substitute. If Navanishya Prabhu goes somewhere, he travels, or Prem Kishori Mataji goes. So sometimes I take 5:45 AM short class. Sometimes
I had 2 classes, Mataji, for that. If any link is there, or what time?
It's the T.ly temple, no? It's a temple link.
Okay,
Normal
Mataji.
temple link. You can just all join Bhagavatam class daily. It's very nicely given by our temple president, Navanishya Prabhu. So you can attend just T.ly temple. That's it. You can just go to that link. There are 5:45 AM. There's a short Bhagavatam class by Prem Kishori Mataji. Sometimes Pranchidana Prabhu takes, sometimes I takes, based on the availability, because Bhagavatam is a lifetime commitment. They have 8,000 slokas. So we are all grihasthas. We have our own commitments and things. So sometimes it's not possible. So we take shift and do. And Navanishya Prabhu also, he travels for preaching and everything. So sometimes I take. But then you can regularly attend. You can ask Supriya Mataji about Bhagavatam class. Yes, Mataji, how do you feel? Very nice, no?
Yes,
The
Mataji.
day starts with the Bhagavatam class. It's because she always comes. She never missed the chance to read the purport for Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. It's full of knowledge, Mataji. It's like day to day you are getting new information. It's like you get to learn. Your learning curve is there. And moment you are in learning curve, then you are gradually going forward.
Definitely, yes. And it gives you a nice association, a daily association. And so you should all, you're all Bhakti Shastri students, you should all definitely come for Bhagavatam class daily and hear from a realized soul like Navanishya Prabhu. It really changes you. There's a lot of benefit of hearing Bhagavatam. Okay. Yes, Jyoti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. I wanted to ask that if we worship the Vishnu Swarup, we go to Vaikuntha. If we worship the Krishna Swarup, we go to Golok Vrindavan. But what if we worship the Ram Swarup?
That's Ayodhya. You go to Ayodhya. You see the Goloka chart, the material world. After you cross the material world, there is Ayodhya, there is Dwaraka, Jagannath Puri, Mathura. All the dham comes one by one. So whichever Lord you worship, whichever form of the Lord you worship, you go to that planet. Yanti Deva, Yeda Deva. You worship demigods, you go to demigods planet. Ancestors planets, ghostly planets. Krishna in different forms, because Hanuman had Lord Ram in his heart, Arjuna had Krishna in his heart, Bhishma was having Parthasarathi form of Krishna, and Brajavasis have the two-handed form. So each one can have different forms of the Lord. Based on how much you're meditating on that form, you go to that particular world. It's called Sarupya Mukti, no?
Regarding Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan, you told the difference. One is the official form and one is the home form. And what about this Ramji ka?
Huh? Lord Ram.
What
Lord
about
Ram?
that other form?
No,
Yes.
Lord Ram is the bow and arrow form. It's Keshavadrida Rama Sharira, right? It's Krishna only coming as Lord Ram. So there's no difference. It's in Ayodhya. That's different bhav with Lord Ram. Dasya bhav like Hanuman. You can have again different bhavs. But Goloka is special in the sense Madhurya Ras is not seen anywhere else. Madhurya.
And if you have a mixed prayers for all
then
the
I don't know. Then I don't know where you go. I am not the authority to say. But then it's based on, it said that whatever attachment you have, whichever form you're attached to, that's where we go. So then based on whatever your thought is at the time of death, maybe if you're thinking of Lord Ram, definitely go there. Mixed in the sense, you can't think of all the rasas at the same time. No, when the death comes, you might be thinking of one form. So whatever it is, anyway, it's glorious because a devotee always think about the Lord. And it is said if a devotee dies in an accident or at sleep, and if you're not able to think Krishna because you had Alzheimer's or some kind of memory loss, Krishna will think about you. So it's about how we are surrendered to Krishna. Definitely, Krishna will, he says, Name Bhakta Praneshwari, my devotees never perish. So definitely it's glorious. And it said, if you think about Srila Prabhupada, still you go to Goloka, because he is there. He is the eternal associate of the Lord. And if you think about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, still you go to Goloka. Because Goloka have different entrance, Mathura, Vrindavan, right? And then Swetadweep, Mayapur is also one of the entrance. And in Goloka chart, you can see Radha Krishna with Ashtasakis. On the side, there is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his associates. Okay. Okay. Bhagavatam class, 8 o'clock, 8 to 8:30 a.m. is Sankirtan actually. So by 8:20, 25 Prabhu starts now, 8:15. Yeah, you can just log in by 8:15, 8:20. And then 9 o'clock ends. So just 45 minutes is not a big thing. You can definitely listen to the Bhagavatam class. If you're not free at that time, at least join at 5:45 a.m. I want all of you to come at 4:30 to attend Mangalarati and then sit and chant your rounds. It's so special to chant between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. You complete it, and then your whole day will be so glorious. If you can't do it because you're working and everything and something at work, at home to do, then split your rounds, 8 plus 8 or 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay. So try to complete the rounds. Okay, Hare Krishna. So are we done? Manasvi, you are going to teach the sloka.